following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
You're listening to the Sabrecast, brought to you by Better Live Than Dead. And now your hosts, Brayton Wilson and Ryan Wolfe.
And with that, we welcome you to the Sabrecast Season 2, Episode number 6. I am Ryan Wolfe at Wolfe BLTD, joined on the line by Brayton Wilson at BJ Wilson WGR. Brayton, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing all right. Just trying to maybe fight my way through something that I'm hopefully not catching, but drinking lots of water. And when I say water, lots of water, I mean lots and lots of water.
Got the boobons. So me, on the other hand, I won't even let you ask me how I'm doing. I'll tell you. I have a confession to make.
I'll ask you anyway. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I have a confession to make. I think I'm addicted to hummus. I can't stop eating hummus. Before the podcast, Brayton, I told you I was going to go pick something up from the store. It was more hummus.
Oh boy.
Also, I don't have a living room couch, so my living room couch currently is an inflatable mattress. How are you doing? Yeah, exactly. We bought a new couch. We sold our old furniture really quick. I guess I was not expecting it to go that fast. And I mean, it's gone and we got money for it and we can put it towards the new couch that we bought. But our new couch isn't available till at least October 29th. So, yikes.
Well, I mean, at least you got something somewhat comfortable to sit on. And
yeah, you know that air mattress you always sleep on when you stay at my house?
Same one?
That's my couch.
Nice.
Yeah, we have a computer chair in the living room. We've got that. We've got a computer chair, and then we bought a rocking recliner. So that also is there as well. But again, it's
nice, very nice.
It'll be nice when we have that new couch with a Chase lounge on it in the living room. That'll be beautiful.
That will be very nice.
Enough about my couch, though. Let's talk about something also very exciting: the Buffalo Sabres transitions. They teach that in college, and I never graduated. The Buffalo Sabres, Brayton, as we look at the podcast right now, where we look at the current standings on the podcast right now, the Buffalo Sabres are first in the Atlantic, 4-0-1, 9 points out of a potential 10 points. They've scored 21 goals. They've allowed 13 goals. They are 3-0 at home, 1-0-1 on the road, 1-0 in the shootout, and they've won 2 in a row. So, Brayton, before we get into specifics here, what are you liking so far about the Buffalo Sabres 5 games into the 82-game schedule?
Well, so far it's been quite entertaining. They're playing good, entertaining hockey, and you know, it's not pretty, it's not perfect all the time, but I mean, Ralph Kruger's got these guys playing the way that he wants, and he's got them playing motivated and energized, and you know, especially the first 2 games they came out and they were flying and dominating throughout the first 2 games, the one against Pittsburgh and then the home opener against New Jersey looked really good. And then in the next 3 against Columbus, Montreal, and Florida, didn't get off to the greatest of starts, but they've got an electric power play, which happens to energize them. And then from there, they just know how to transition, and everything just looks so much better from last year. It's not perfect by any means. And, you know, I know last year a lot of people got super hyped when you had the 10-game win streak, and that's all fun, but something just feels different a little bit about this little streak that they've got. They've gone unbeaten in their or not unbeaten, but they've gone 5 straight games with a point in the standings, and sitting atop the Atlantic Division as we speak, which is pretty remarkable for just the start of the season compared to how badly this team has started in the past years. So, you know, it's been a lot of fun hockey. It's been entertaining to watch. They're not perfect, but you know, good teams get off to good starts, and you know, if the Sabres want to be a good team, they've got one part of it down already. They just got to continue playing well, and they've got to continue to put up some wins and put up some decent games. And if they do that, you know, they could head to Sweden in November and a really good spot in what is one of the top teams in the Atlantic Division. And hopefully by then they'll be able to go ahead and keep winning and really cement themselves as a true contender this year.
Now, looking at the stats right now, no surprise, Jack Eichel has 7 points in 5 games, 3 goals, and 4 assists. 5 of those points coming on the power play, which has been incredible so far. That is a stat that I will grab here in just a moment. Also, Rasmus Dahlin. He is a newcomer on power on the PP1, and he has made some points happen. 5 points, all assists on the power play. He has 7 points in 5 games as well. The one thing, Brayton, while I grab this power play stat, is Victor Olofsson. We know he had an incredible shot, but he's come into this season with 4 goals in 5 games. He's got 5 points in 5 games with 4 goals and an assist. All 4 goals have come on the power play. Now, granted, he is shooting 28.6% right now, so that will understandably go down. But right now, the Buffalo Sabres are second in the National Hockey League at 42.1%. And again, this is a recording before a bunch of games happen, so that might change their ranking, but still 42.1% on the power play this season so far. But Victor Olofsson, Brayton, he has been everything that the Buffalo Sabres expected and more through 5 games.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And we saw what he could do last year in Rochester and in his first year in North America. Again, being able to score 27 goals in the Swedish Hockey League is no easy task. I mean, before he did it, it was at least 3 or 4 years before someone else had scored 25-plus goals in the Swedish Hockey League. Then he comes to North America, and in his very first year in North America in Rochester, he goes on to score 30 goals and put up 63 points in 66 games. That's pretty remarkable for a guy who had not had too much experience playing on North American ice before coming over and signing his entry-level contract just before last season. But, you know, in the first 5 games of the year, 5 points is pretty impressive. And I understand it's all at power play, and people have every right to say, well, that's just him being a power play specialist and him getting points and taking advantage of playing with a guy like Jack Eichel. But I think at even strength, he's been able to sustain himself really well playing with Eichel and Reinhart. And even if he wasn't with Eichel and Reinhart, I think he could sustain himself very well, no matter which line he was playing with. He could be playing in a line with Marcus Johansson or playing in a line with Casey Middlestat. I think he could score still. I think he could still sustain himself. Now, his defensive work hasn't been all too appealing, especially in the last 2 games. I think in the game in Montreal, it looked like in the third period late he had gotten benched because of some pretty lackluster defensive efforts. But, I mean, again, he's just a guy that can shoot the puck, can distribute the puck extremely well. Maybe more of an offensive guy than defensive, but, I mean, he can handle his own. He's proven that he can handle his own in the defensive zone when need be. He could be on the power play. He could even play shorthanded if he needed to. But again, with the defensive struggles as of right now, it's just going to need some time for him to be able to grasp the level of NHL hockey. I mean, the NHL to AHL is completely different, but I think once he fully gets himself immersed into everything that's going on, the pace of play, the schedule, it's a culture change between the AHL and the NHL even. So once he gets used to that, I think he'll be much better defensively and in both ends. But I mean, his offensive upside, you can't deny. And there's a reason why he's playing on the top line with Eichel and Reinhart right now, is because he can shoot the puck, he can score, he's a finisher on that line. Whereas Eichel and Reinhart, they're 2 guys that are more likely than, going to set up something rather than finish. And even those guys could put the puck in the back of the net. But Olofsson is a guy who, when you need the puck to go in, I always say this, when he's missing, it's not missing by much, a matter of inches. And he's a guy that if you get the puck on his stick, watch out.
Yeah, like I said, it's been incredible to watch Victor Olofsson. I mean, the one thing I find myself incredibly amazed with still is his shot. I mean, it's coming, it's going to be great, and then he takes a shot, and you just can't believe what you're seeing. I mean, it's. I will continue
to say this, Victor Olofsson, and I know I'm only 27 when I say this, and I'm sure there's been many other people that have watched great hockey players. But, I mean, in my time of watching hockey and following the team and following the league, I think Victor Olofsson has the best shot I've ever seen. The way that it comes off his stick, the way that he just gets it off, it's not really a booming shot whatsoever. it's just so clean off his stick and so crisp, and it's always going to the top part of the net. Very rarely do you ever see that puck go anywhere but anywhere low, low towards the net. It's always going up on a goaltender, and again, when he misses, he's only missing by a little bit because he knows how to pick the corners, and maybe he needs to hit the net a little bit more, but just again an incredible shot off the stick of a guy that again was a 7th round pick. It's hard to believe that a 7th round pick of the Sabres back in 2014, which was a terrible draft class for the Sabres, the 7th rounder could find his way into the NHL and playing on the Sabres top line.
It's incredible, yeah. And his shot, the best way for me to explain it is that his shot really just has eyes. It has eyes for the net, if that makes any sense to you out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking now because I want to see if I can find the stat that I was looking for. I'll have to look somewhere else for it. Anyways, looking back at the Buffalo Sabres roster, one thing to keep an eye on, potentially negative thing to keep an eye on early on, despite the fact that he has 4 goals in 5 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. Marcus Johansson as a center, the face-off percentage is at 35.29%. Not great. Only 5 games, small sample size. I get that. But still, that's not great to see. And then also you've got Casey Middlestat at 50%, which is, I guess it is what it is. And then Johan Larsson at 43.08%. So, doesn't appear the Buffalo Sabres. Jack Eichel's at 51.96%. So they're not all doing terrible, but could be a lot better there. And also I'm looking here down these statistics. The one thing I do want to mention, Brayton, is Jimmy Vesey. He was coming in. Granted, we knew coming into the season he wasn't going to be a guy who was going to really take over the team and lead him in scoring or score a ton of goals. But he was expected to come in and bring some offense, and so far through 5 games he has been invisible with no points, +2 on ice rating, and 4 shots. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And I haven't been too disappointed with Jimmy Vesey's game. I don't think it's been terrible. It's just we need to see more from him. And we know how good he was in New York, and we know how he was able to score, especially in front of the net. But I don't know. Maybe his role has changed a little bit here. When he was, when he was in New York, he was a net front presence, a guy that would get to the net. And I'm not seeing that much of it right now with Vesey. I don't know if we're seeing him get to the net as much as he did and be a force in front of the net. He was a guy that, you could put in front of the net on the power play, and he would put up a number of goals, and he would be strong in front of the net. I don't know if I'm seeing that all too much from him right now. He's being too much more of a perimeter guy, and I think if he's going to really need to net results, he's got to get to the front of the net. He has got to find ways to create havoc in front of the opposing goalie. If he does, I think he can rebound and get his game going, and especially start scoring goals, which is one thing that he's been best known for. But then again, you look at a guy like Jeff Skinner. Last year was his very first year in Buffalo, and it took him about 5-6 games to really hit his stride, to score his first goal. And then all of a sudden, things started to happen for him. He started scoring more. He started making plays, and he found himself in better opportunities to succeed. Maybe that's all Jimmy Vesey needs, is just that opportunity and get that first goal and get the monkey off his back, and then he's off and running. But at the time being right now, he's on that third line with Middlestat and Rodriguez or Connor Sherry, whoever's playing on the right wing, whereas maybe he should be on the second line. That's just me personally, but anything to get Vladimir Sobotka out of that second line spot. Holy crap, it's been absolutely terrible. Try Vesey there. Give him more opportunity. Put him on the power play, in the second power play. Stash him in front of the net. Get him going somehow, some way, in order to really get his game going, because we've seen how good he can be in this league. I just think he's getting off to a slow start in Buffalo.
So I'm looking at fancy stats here, and I see something about Vladimir Sobotka. Brayton, with PDO, isn't it? If you are above 100, you're expected to get you're expected to regress, and if you're below 100, you're expected to get better. Is that correct, roughly?
I'm not too familiar with how PDO necessarily works, but yeah, sure. Let's go.
It sounds right, because either way, Vladimir Sobotka is a 46.9% Corsi 4, which is in the bottom half, or the bottom. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. The bottom 5 of the Buffalo Sabres. Jack Eichel has a 45.1. He struggled a little with possession when being on the ice, but he's been able to put some points on the board, so I guess that's good. But the one thing I want to talk about here, Brayton, the top 3 Sabres when it comes to Corsi 4 rating, even strength: Kyle Oposo at 70.2%, Johan Larsson at 64.4%, and Zemgus Girgensons at 62.6%. So at this point, if I had told you when the season started that those 3 players would be not only the 3 best players on the Sabres fancy stats wise, but their line is arguably the best line the Sabres have right now, you probably wouldn't have believed me. But hey, this is something we saw at the end of last season. It was a nice little sample size. We saw Kyle Oposo especially thrive on that fourth line. It's hard to play him. We've talked about it before. Hard to play Oposo on the fourth line with that big old ticket he has. But hey, at some point in time, you've got to find a spot for him on your team. And if it's the fourth line skating with Larsson and Girgensons, then that's where it is.
Right, and that line has been absolutely electric, especially in the past few games, where they are the driving force. And Ralph Krueger said it, the energy line for this team. You need a big shift to happen in the offensive zone or even the defensive zone. Send them out there, put them out there, and see what they could do, because they seem to have strived in the offensive zone, the defensive zone, in the transition game. It doesn't matter. They've been able to do just about anything and everything that Krueger has asked of them, and they've played really, really well. And to start the season, I remember when we did the podcast just before the season opener, I looked at that line. I thought, oh, geez, this is just a terrible looking line. It's, what are these guys still doing here? And I've been impressed with all 3 of them. Not one of those 3 I've said in the 5 games that they've played, man, these guys should not be on the ice. They should be scratched or whatever. They should not be getting the opportunities that they are. But they're making the most out of everything that they're being given to them with the way that they've played. And it has been very fun to see, very fun to watch, and good for those guys, because they've been with this team for a while. They've gone through a lot of crap over the years, and this might be what they need in order to really make themselves get back in the right track of things here, for whether it's the rest of this season or whether it's the rest of their careers, because I'm sure that after this season plans may change. Oposo's probably going to be here, but Girgensons and Larssons are playing for their next contract. They're both going to be, I think, unrestricted free agents next year. So those guys have got a lot to play for, a lot to prove, and they've been doing it. In the first 5 games of the year, they've been pretty darn good. Now, Ryan, I got to ask you, because this has become a Twitter debate amongst me and a number of other people. Where are you at? Log line, the old line, or are you on the glow line sort of thing?
I think it's got to be the glow line. It not only sounds the best, but it makes the most. It's literally the line.
Yeah, it literally is. It's Girgensons, Larsson, Oposo.
To confirm as well, sorry, Brayton, to confirm as well, I'm just looking here. Girgensons and Larsson are confirmed unrestricted free agents after the season.
Very good. Very good. I think that when you're naming a line, unless it becomes like the legendary status line, like the French Connection and some of the other great lines that have been in this league, if you're giving a nickname that is not like that, and you're looking at the lines, it should be how they line up. And if it fits, it fits. Like, I know that Chris Baker came up with REO Speedwagon for the top line of Reinhart, Eichel, and Olofsson. It's a great, I like it. It's a great nickname, but the problem is that it just doesn't fit with how they line up on the ice in the line chart. That's just me, though. Maybe I'm too picky.
No, I get you. You're making sense. I mean, there are times when you can bend the rules a little, but I think I like the idea of doing it in the order in which they are on the ice. Right. I did want to mention too. I know the first 4 games, everyone was saying, well, Larsson, Girgensons, and Oposo are doing great, but they're not on the score sheet. They changed that against the Florida Panthers. Larsson had a goal, Oposo had 2 assists, and Girgensons had 2 assists. So again, It's very interesting to see that happening because the depth scoring would be very nice to have, and it's important for the Sabres if they want to be good throughout the entire 82 game season. Now, Brayton, we've seen Evan Rodriguez finally make his season debut. He only played a little under 8.5 minutes against Florida. We saw, Rasmus Dahlin be benched for the second half of the third period. We saw the same with Victor Olofsson there for a while. With Ralph Kruger going to his veterans. The question I have for you, with those in mind, are there any coaching strategies or ways that Ralph Kruger has been coaching the Sabres the first 5 games that you've enjoyed, or are there things that you don't like? Where do you stand so far after just a few games?
Well, I mean, I think the most puzzling factor is, especially last night, what are you doing not playing your top line? Why do you not have your top line on the ice in the dying moments of the third period? And it's situation, and it's not even dying moments. It's the last 10 minutes of the game. It just seemed like the Olofsson, Eichel, Reinhart line was never on the ice the 10 minutes of the game, both the Canadiens game and the Florida Panthers game. They're your top line for a reason. It's your top line center for a reason. Those guys could go out there and put up offense and transition really well, going from defense to offense. And I know you're trying to shut things down and get the camper parked in the garage, which I can't believe we're bringing that phrase back again. But at the same point, it's frustrating because you need a timely goal. You need to shut this game down, and you keep sending out, guys that are, they can put up offense, but they're not your driving force. They're not your guys that are expected to go take the puck into the offensive zone and create havoc down there. I've been impressed with the way Marcus Johansson has played with Jeff Skinner, but I mean, Vladimir Sobotka, just whenever he looks like he gets the puck, he freezes as if the puck is going to come up and bite him in the ass. It's just, it's frustrating to see your top line guys or, your top talented guys not getting the ice time just because we're going into shutdown mode. That's the kind of stuff that Dan Bilesma would do. It's the kind of stuff that Phil Housley would do at times. And I'm tired of that. I want to see him take a chance, and I want to see him put his top line guys, his top performance guys out there. Take the chance and rely on those guys. Olofsson's not bad defensively. He struggled a little bit defensively in the past few games, but he's not terrible. He's a guy that can go out there and be relied on in the offensive zone. You need a goal to go back up and shut these guys down. Don't let these guys in. They did it against Montreal. They did it against Florida. The only thing that concerns me with this group is that they have now given up 2 separate 2-goal leads in the third period, and they easily could have avoided those situations. And I think that, they're just trying to go into shutdown mode too early, and they're giving up the other teams more opportunities to come back and get back in games. And that's not what we want to see. We want to see them step on the throat. We want to see them shut these guys down and not give them any more chances offensively. And we're just not seeing that. And they're just getting too many chances to come back in, open the door, and get shots on the goalie and get pressure in the defensive zone. It's a little frustrating. So moving forward, that's probably the only thing I'd like to see from Kruger is have more trust in his guys. Go out there and just let some of these guys. I understand Olofsson's a rookie and Rasmus Dahlin's only 19 years old. But Rasmus Dahlin's the number 1 overall pick. You have to put him in these situations in order for him to succeed. I mean, if he's not going to be in a situation like this, what is he going to learn from? What is he going to do when he becomes 21, 22, 23 and he's not on the ice? I mean, it's just situations like that where you need your top players out there, and I just don't think you can shelter them. I think you have to throw them in the fire, especially if you want to be able to sustain success this year and compete and be a playoff contender.
I mean, it's almost like Ralph Kruger's treating that last year didn't happen for Rasmus Dahlin, which is a little frustrating. Right. I mean, I would hope that as the season goes on that changes. It's only 5 games in, but it also does help the argument that last night he essentially benched Dahlin for the second half of the third period to put his veterans out there. Then his veterans blow the lead and allow the game to angle. I mean, granted, it's all gravy at the end of the day because the Sabres won in a shootout. If they had lost, it would have become a bigger talking point. But at some point in time, I'm sure a boneheaded decision will end up costing the Sabres at least a point. That's just how I was almost said baseball. That's how hockey seasons work. Unfortunately, you can't make every decision properly to make it the right decision every time.
Right.
Unless you're the Tampa Bay Lightning, I guess, last year. But, we all saw how that worked out. But I would have to say that, I'm intrigued by what he's been doing. It's been fun to watch. Sabres hockey's fun to watch again. They were, they play fast. They seem to play smart too, which is nice to see. And it doesn't seem like, they're doing a lot of bad stuff that we've been used to watching for years now. So it's a nice little palate cleanser, but hopefully it continues, and we will obviously be here to talk about it all season long, because we're making a concerted effort to do that this year with the Sabrecast. I didn't know if you had any thoughts on that, on my diatribe.
No. I mean, I've got nothing else really to say on that. We'll be here as much as we can throughout the year to
just don't
provide
mess your other knee up.
Well, I mean, I'm going to do my best to not do that. It's, this point, I'm laid up as it is right now with my leg, and not much I could really do probably for another few weeks. So I'm just itching to get back to work here, Ryan. You have no idea.
I'm sure, when you're there, you're like, I don't want to be here anymore. And then when you're forced out, you're like, I just want to go to work today.
Right.
Like when I was in Hawaii and coming home, I'm like, I haven't been to work in 9 days. I'm like, I kind of want to go back to work.
Right. Like I've been away for a week and a half from work, and I'm kind of like, okay, the sooner I can get back, the better. I don't mind having this time off, but I got to make money to live. So
absolutely. Well, thankfully, I pay you no dollars to be on the Sabrecast, but maybe I could give you $1.
Well, I mean, I'm more than happy to join you on a regular basis.
My friendship is worth more than any
or whatnot.
My friendship is worth more than any monetary value I could ever provide you.
That's absolutely right.
I appreciate you. Hey, Brayton. You can follow him at BJ Wilson WGR. I'm at WolfBLTD on Twitter. I'm starting to trail off in my thought process because I'm very hungry, and I also would like to eat some hummus. So that's what I'm going to go do. So, as always, we are the Sabrecast. This is the Sabrecast. You are not.
And you. I jumped the gun there. Sorry. And you are not.
Let's just try it again. Brayton. We are the Sabrecast.
And you are not.
I forgot. I don't remember if we did that for this podcast, but we do them for all the podcasts. Who cares?
We do it now.
This is what happens when you have your own website and podcast and do whatever you want.
Right. Absolutely.
So with that being said, again, you can hear us on any podcast platform that you use. If you don't hear us there, let us know and we'll get it there. I'm going to go eat hummus because like I said, I don't know if you can be addicted to hummus, but I think I have a problem and I may need an intervention. So with that being said, go Sabres. Enjoy the Amherst as well. They're 2-0, and we'll talk to you soon.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? It's Ryan Wolfe.
And Mr. Perez.
From the Better Live Than Dead podcast. You can catch the Better Live Than Dead podcast on the Gear Radio Network, BetterLiveThanDead.com, and wherever you get your podcasts.
That's right.
With that being said, hey, we talk about sports, we talk about music, we talk about entertainment.
I make things really awkward sometimes.
That sounds about right.
Uh-huh.
With that being said, though, as you always know, we are Better Live Than Dead.
You're not.
We'll catch you sometime very soon.